all, welcome back to SAP MM channel. Today we'll touch base on the real scenario based questions for 4 years of experience. The panel of the interview would have asked all these questions which would really makes the interview to know the knowledge base and your caliber on the subject matter. So the first question from the panel is, give a real example of PO release strategy configuration. So the answer should be, in one project, the POs above 1 lakh require two level approval for only one plant, that is 1000. You should say, I configured the characteristics using the CEKKO and NETWR and CEKKO works. Created the class would be 032 for the PO, defined release codes and test the multiple scenarios to ensure there is a correct triggering of the PO, and this helped the client pass the internal audit requirements. So if you give in depth of this characteristics and the class division, all this will help us to know that you have a thorough knowledge on this PO release strategy. Moving on to the next question. Describe a real Miro inverse blocking issue if you would have solved. Here all this if would have been solved or if you have been come across, these are the tests to know the thorough knowledge on the subject. So the answer should be, the invoices were getting blocked due to price variances during Miro. On analysis, I would recommend that the tolerance key purchase price, the PO price was set to too low. After discussing with the finance team, we adjusted the tolerance limit, in the sense we have increased the tolerance and released the existing blocked invoices through MRBR T code. This reduced the month-end delays significantly. So if you say like this, they would also know that you are integrating with the finance department on this particular scenario. Moving on to the next question. Tell me about pricing issue in PO which you have handled. You should say, in one project the PO price was different from the info record price. This happens often. I analyzed the resource determination and found that the contract was taking priority over the info record. After confirming with the business, we updated the contract price and future POs pick the correct price automatically. So in this case, whatever, if the PO price was different from the info record, and you should say that if after checking the source determination, it was taking the contract price. After checking with the business, they are saying that the contract price was the correct. So in this way you need to talk, and they can understand that your ability of understanding the SAP, uh, how the SAP standard works in case of PO price. Moving on to the next question. Share an example of authorization related issue. Again, this makes to know your authorization related knowledge. A user could create a PO but could not release them. Why? Because I checked his access in SU53 and found that there was a missing authorization for the release code. After checking with the security team and updated the role, the user was able to release the POs. In these scenarios, you are integrating with the security team to get the access updated, and you also know that at times the person would have the access to create but not to release them. Moving on to the next question. Explain a real PR to PO optimization issue. Automatic PO creation from PR to PO was not working. So I found that the PR was not released and the source list was a missing the fixed vendor. Here again you're interlinking with the issues what happens at most. So you're telling that the source list had a missing of the fixed vendor. After releasing the PR in and maintaining the source list properly, the ME59 function was being performed successfully. So here you're talking about the root cause of the problem and also you're giving the solution as you're maintaining the source list properly. Moving on to the next question. Tell me about a real material master issue which you have fixed. The answer should be GIA was failing because the material was not extended to the plant. Often it happens. So I extended the material using MM-02 or MM-01 also and validated the valuation data and GIA was posted successfully. Here, though the issue was very it is very minimal, like GIA was failing because it was not extended to the plant, but here you are integrating with the basic fundamental data that you know that the material extension can be done, and because of that at times GR would be failing. Moving on to the next question. Share an example of reducing the business risk, if any. They are just giving you a hint that if you have really done any business risk can be at your experience, if you have the experience of the 4+ years or the 5 years, certainly you would have done the reducing the business risk at many scenarios. So you have to take this as a question as an opportunity to bring back your caliber. We noticed frequent invoice blocks were happening due to price variances. After analysis, we aligned the tolerance limit with the again business expectation that you have talked to the business and trained the users, I mean to say the end users, and reducing the invoice related tickets by more than 30% or the 40%, you can say. Here your caliber on the subject knowledge and the handling the business expectations and also providing the workshop to the end user will have a more weightage. So you're just giving a example with answering one question, but you're giving all such scenarios where you have been worked. And reducing the invoice related tickets by more than 30 to 40% makes a lot. Then one more question from the interview panel would be describe a real GRIR reconciliation issue. And they may ask these questions or maybe the reducing like later or how I was talking. Okay, like that. At month end, GRIR balances were high due to missing invoices. This happens usually. Like GR would have been created and there is a delay in invoice posting by the accounts payable department. This happens. So I coordinate with the accounts payable team and ensure the pending invoices were posted and reversed correctly if there is any incorrect GRs were been made, thus clearing the balance. Yes, you can say that you have integrated with the other team and get this work done. You can also say that apart from this, we also ask for the statements and make the accounts payable team to be thorough with the statements and make the GRIR clearing. Describe a real month-end MM issue. This often they may ask you. The answer is very simple. At month end, again GRIR balance were not clearing, and I took this initiative of analyzing the open GRs and the invoice, coordinating with the finance team and the accounts payable team, and ensure all the pending documents were posted before the period close, before the day plus one or the day 01. Moving on to the next question. How have you reduced the recurring MM tickets? Again, this makes on the question to your subject matter of the MM. Thorough knowledge of the subject matter. by identify the root causes, correcting the configurations, creating the SOPs for the end user. For example, after training the users on delivery tolerance, GR related tickets were reduced significantly by 20%, or you can say by 50%, so on. Moving on to the next question. Why do you consider yourself a senior MM consultant? This for sure the intro would have asked. The answer should be because I don't fix the issues. I understand the business impact, coordinate across the teams, communicate clearly, and ensure the long term stability. In this case, you can also give the example that since the month end you have cleared the GRIR balance and work with the other teams, with the finance team, and get this done. And you can see that we don't just give a instant solution. We wanted to have a long term stability and also to leverage the knowledge and make your cycle, the purchase cycle, effectively. That's all for this segment. Thank you for your valuable time. If you like it, do subscribe and give me your feedback. Your subscription will be a big boost to me to come up with many more videos. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe.